comedians are both loved and hated for a multitude of reasons. Some are polarizing, like Dave Chappelle. I find Dave Chappelle to be funny, but I also find that, sometimes him covering certain subject matters, he's a bit heavy-handed, but it's Dave Chappelle. What do you expect? The man has never been known for subtlety. This is the same guy that had a family, that had a skit on his show where a family had the last name of the N-word, and it was said over and over and over again, and it's like, there's no chill with that. And you know what? I respect it to a certain degree. Well, I don't know if Dave Chappelle's on this list, but there's also comedians who have fallen greatly out of favor with a lot of the people out there. I know you mentioned the other day Tom Segura, how he basically has just revealed himself to be an absolute utter piece of shit for his
elitist dickhead.
Yeah, not cool, man, not cool. And then there's those who are almost universally loved. I know that a lot of people love Shane Gillis, and
recently he's kind of blown up.
Yeah, and I know that Cat Williams said Joe invites 6 friends on his show, and ain't none of them funny. It's like, I gotta call bullshit on a few of them, because Shane Gillis is funny as hell. Theo Vaughn is funny as hell. Back when Segura was humble, he was still funny. Bert Kreischer can be funny whenever he evolves his game a bit. And of course, Joey Diaz is never not going to be funny. Love Joey Diaz. And Ari Shaffir. Ari is a good facilitator for comedy. I don't know if he's really the best comedian, but the man is good at spotting comedy, and also he's really good at crafting skits. But either way, we're looking at a video by Sunny V2 here called Most Hated versus Most Loved Comedians, and I figured we might as well just jump on in.
One of my most loved comedians is no longer with us.
Yeah,
Mitch.
Mitch, him, I hate to say it, but given his drug usage, he was never long for this world. Sad to say. I mean, some of the great ones, like John Belushi, John Candy, Chris Farley, all 3 of them just, known to be absolute, just soft, sweet, just teddy bears of people. But yet, all of them died early because of, John Candy was because of health issues. Unfortunately, John never got a heart condition properly assessed, and it wound up costing him his life. And then, of course, there's Chris Farley and John Belushi, which the similarities between their deaths, it's eerie how similar they both were. Not just in terms of, their performers or their performances, their styles of comedy, and also their high energy output, and also, first off, both of them got their start on through Second City. Both of them got their start hit the mainstream with SNL. Both of them went on to successful movie careers, and both of them died at the age of 33. And both of them died from doing the speedball. You know what a speedball is? Yeah, so those of you who don't know out there, it's basically a mixture of cocaine and heroin. And basically, that was that.
Not good for you either way you look at it.
No, because you're taking a stimulant of cocaine and a depressant of heroin, and you're literally playing Russian roulette with your heart.
Sideways.
Yeah, you're playing Russian roulette with your heart. It's just like when Brian Welch, he was mainlining meth and taking pills as a depressant, and he was on the verge of dying multiple times because of that. And he was lucky that he's still alive. But some of the great ones that aren't with us for too long, and Mitch was one of them. Mitch, unfortunately, because of his drug addictions, he was never able to kick that. But hey, we still have all of the memories, and we can always look back on Mitch and just completely laugh our asses off at just how funny he was. Anyway, let's go ahead and check this out. This is Most Hated versus Most Loved Comedians. Here we go.
For every 5
Oh, there's always something.
Comedians, there's another 5 who are completely despised, and it's no secret that joke thief Dane Cook fits snugly into category 2. In 2005, Dane Cook was listed as the world's most famous comic, although despite being known by an audience of millions, he was notably hated by every other comedian. A comedy radio host stated, "Not one comedian comes on my show and says I'm so happy for him, which is weird. They can't stand this poor guy, the reason for which being jealousy, at least according to Dane."
A lot of jealousy, a lot of animosity that I, at a young age, was famous, hanging around with beautiful women, rich.
Although the real reason might have been because Dane had stolen their jokes, given he was called out for copying a bit done by Louis C.K.
You can name your kid anything you want. I like that part. I'd like to give my kid an interesting name, you know? Like a name with no vowels, maybe, you know? Just like 40 F's, that's his name.
I already have names picked out. I don't even know. First kid, boy, girl, I don't care. The first one that comes out, I'm naming it. I think it's beautiful. It's feminine but strong at the same time. Time for bed. I said time for bed.
Fans then noticed Dane had also copied a bit by Dimitri Martin at around the same
Like,
time.
attempted to change it enough to not
be one to one.
accused of a direct ripoff, but it's still obviously a copy joke.
Well, no doubt. I mean, it's a different approach to it, to a certain degree, but the punchline's exactly the same. And then, of course, I read about this one, Dimitri Martin, one of my most favorite comedians of the 2000s.
To a shoe store, and I said, "Hey, can I get those in a 10?" The guy said, "Sure," and he went in the back. And a couple minutes later, he came out and he goes, "I don't have a 10, I have a 9. Great.
Yeah.
I said, "Well, you were in the back. My toes were severed off."
She walks out. She comes up to me, you guys, so enthusiastic, such like optimism. She's holding a boot. She comes right up to me and she goes, "We have it in a 9. Great, you guys also have a bone saw anywhere nearby?"
With Patrick CC running through even more examples in this video before touching on another reason.
It's pretty blatant, even though he changed the wording slightly.
Yeah, that one's
It's like it's the same situation.
less forgivable.
Yeah.
That one's much less forgivable.
Dane Cook is hated. His joke about the Batman movie theater shooting.
Oh, this one pissed off everybody. I remember this. This one pissed off everybody.
That the guy came into the theater about 25 minutes into the movie. I don't know if you've seen the movie. The movie's pretty much a piece of crap. Pretty sure that somebody in that theater about 25 minutes in realizing it was a piece of crap probably was like, "Oh, shoot me."
The controversial joke resulted in article after article, as well as Twitter posts reading, "Anyone who knows me knows I think Dane Cook is the single worst comedian ever. He's never been funny. Now he's just an awful human being." But while Dane Cook isn't liked for his disrespectful and sometimes...
the joke was distasteful, but also he's just straight up fucking wrong. That was one of the greatest movies ever made.
Yeah, The Dark Knight Rises is easily like one of the best comic book movies of all time.
It's like, I don't care about subjectivity. If you call The Dark Knight a piece of crap, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
stolen jokes. Theo Von is
The
hailed for...
acceptable criticism of that movie is, it's not my thing. Fair enough.
Huh?
So the only acceptable criticism of that movie is, it's not my thing. Fair enough. If you call it a piece of garbage, you're just fucking wrong.
Well, my thing is, there is no denying the fact that it is a very well-made film. Looking at it from top to bottom, you know that Chris Nolan's a great director. You know it. But, yeah, I can understand if people just aren't into it, you know, if comic books aren't their thing, if Batman's not their thing. But to just say that it's a piece of crap, it's like, you're throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Anyway, talking about Theo Von now. Hell yeah. Love Theo.
For his unusual originality. His sense of humor has been described as so creative, unique, hilarious, and unorthodox that I can't compare him to any other comedian, which summarizes Theo Von perfectly.
There's a few guys, Theo's one of them, that have like a style of comedy that you will never be able to explain to someone. They gotta go see him.
When you hear him say, "We had this one guy," you know you're
Basically, Theo's the guy who basically, you know, he's bullshitting with you when he talks about most of this stuff. If he's being real with you, he'll let you know he's being real with you. But if he's bullshitting with you, you know, just like shooting the shit, like he'll just be like, "Man, I had this one dude that that used to bury shit in my backyard." Like, what? Like he buried like belongings? He said, "Oh no, like he would literally like shit in our yard and he would bury it." Like, okay, he's like, "Yeah, well, he used to sell my mom Quaaludes, and I always used to tell mom, be like, you better watch your hands whenever dealing with him because he buries shit in our backyard." Like it's just, the guy is just so effortlessly funny. It's just,
It's like you trying to tell the same story doesn't even come off.
No, it doesn't, because
half
Theo's
as good as when he tells.
No, Theo is a master at that kind of joke crafting, and it's come from years and years of trial and error, figuring out what sounds funny, what, you know, how to keep it fresh, and to not drag your feet. Much unlike how I just did. I dragged my feet so bad, I killed the joke.
About to hear a wild story full of bizarre situations and metaphors described in the strangest yet most perfect way possible.
This gentleman had half a limb, and
which limb?
He was missing part of his leg, I think, or he said he was, so he could have been faking it.
CGI or something?
I don't know what his name was. CGI, it was a white dude.
See that right there. See. That's
appearing dumber than you actually are. Like, it's just, I don't know. There's something. Yeah, I get what they're saying. It's hard to describe.
And also there's something endearing about it. Also not only that, but just how quick he is. Just how quick he is with just like thinking of the little thing right there.
He's extremely witty.
Yes, it's like CGI. It's like, no, I don't think that was his name.
Okay, Jack.
He's the absolute king of the metaphor. Whenever he says something is kind of like etc., it's always the funniest, most outlandish comparison I've ever heard.
You look like a guy, if somebody had a cheat code in Double Dragon, bro. And they got to use an ultimate character, man.
Yeah, Dan Tony.
Amen, dude.
There are multiple compilations dedicated to Theo Von's absolutely wild sayings, although at the same time, he's able to show his softer, more vulnerable side in moments where it's appropriate. Theo's podcast this past weekend has risen to become the 7th most popular podcast on Spotify, while Brennan Schaub's bad reputation has caused his...
Brennan's an idiot.
Okay, you are giving Brendan a lot of rope here to to call him a comedian. This man's not a comedian. This man is a moron. There are things that Brendan Schaub, I thought Brendan Schaub was good at. You know, hosting. Like him and Brian Callen, the fighter and the kid, that podcast was pretty good for a while. Then Brendan's ego took over. And then after that, it's like, why am I even listening to this show? This is fucking awful. So, calling Brendan Schaub a comedian is like calling Adolf Hitler a humanitarian. It's just not right.
Podcast to trend in the opposite direction. Brennan had previously been a UFC fighter. However, after a string of losses, he was convinced by Joe Rogan and Brian Callen to retire and instead pursue comedy.
You have a future in other things and you're really good at. Like, you're really funny.
You say funny shit, man.
Yeah, you do. You have a ridiculous talent for that.
Although with comments on Brennan's stand-up like, this is the best example of normal people thinking they're funny because they make their friends laugh, his sets aren't exactly the greatest. His first stand-up special titled You'd Be Surprised received an IMDb rating of 1.4 out of 10 stars and was labeled in front of millions as the worst
destruction
comedy special I've ever seen. It was so bad that even Joe Rogan made a few little jokes about it.
The first one, I would have probably tried to talk you out of it, but I already talked you out of fighting. Yeah. And I was like, I can't talk him out of this too.
However, for Brendan, the worst was yet to come. 3 years after his first special, Brennan Schaub released another one titled Gringo Papi, which received an even lower IMDb score of 1.1 out of 10 stars.
There is such a thing as throwing in the towel.
Yeah.
I think he needs to throw in the towel and quit.
Joe should have just gone, in retrospect, me telling you to do comedy was a bad idea.
Yeah.
Meaning he was unable to sell it to a major buyer like Netflix. Instead, he uploaded the special to his YouTube channel, where it received an 85% dislike ratio and comments such as, "Damn, this guy sure has some hidden talent. Hope he finds it one day. Every time I feel down, I watch Gringo Papi. Then I realize whatever has me down or whatever adversity I am facing isn't as bad as this comedy special." You know it's a Brennan Schaub stand-up special when the comments are funnier than the actual video. With the stand-up again being labeled as the worst comedy special of all time, it seems Brendan's main problem is that he isn't very skilled, and the audience has therefore been gravitating towards Shane Gillis. He got his big break in 2019 after being cast on Saturday Night Live, which he was then fired from immediately after the media dug up controversial comments made on his podcast.
And then I got canceled immediately.
You got canceled on the way.
They literally were like, how about this guy? And everyone was like, no.
Shane responded by writing, "I'm a comedian who pushes boundaries. Sometimes I miss. If you go through my 10 years of comedy, most of it bad, you're going to find a lot of bad misses. But while this made him unsuitable for SNL, this was ironically exactly what the wider comedy audience wanted. No wonder SNL fired him. He's actually funny." This, in combination with the mountains of press from the incident, took Shane's popularity to a whole new level.
The months after SNL, our listenership probably quadrupled because then people heard about it and watched it.
So it's helped the podcast.
Like, this is actually funny.
So it's helped the podcast.
Tremendously.
Only made crazier when he'd post his live set in Austin, which gained over 20 million views by touching on funny political topics, although in a good way where it felt like he didn't have an agenda.
And I don't want to be on the other side of it where it's like, I'm a free speech guy. It's like, dude, I don't want to be involved in any of this. I just want to do comedy.
Shane's great attitude and likable personality.
He just makes fun of politicians in general. Like,
good.
You know?
And that's exactly the thing is, Jesus Christ.
And he does really good impressions of them too, which is just fucking hilarious.
Yeah. His Trump impression, second to none. He's just...
I like his George W. Bush Jr. impression.
Yeah, that one's also really good. And it's just the Trump one is he's just like, I want Trump to be like the final boss of the debate. I don't care, which side, whoever's sent up, just send him out there like a final boss, have like epic walkout music and everything. Just, and it's like the announcer's just like, and we have one more contestant participating in the debate tonight. Broken glass, dun 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 dun. Like,
they're both gay.
Yeah, it's like, they're both gay. They're both extremely gay. Just thought I would put that out there because it's the truth. Also, look at this. The man has over 76,000.
One of his jokes has literally become a viral meme, the grilled cheese.
Oh, that one.
People have been posting, like, just the grilled cheese on stuff just because it's so funny to everybody.
He's like, I don't know where he keeps getting those fucking grilled cheese.
I think he's making them at night. I'm not making them at night, Dad. I'm making them at night. That's a genius joke.
It is.
Fucking hilarious.
It is so good.
Made him the most subscribed person on Patreon with around 75,000 paid members, in comparison to Carrot Top, whose style was so unique the whole industry turned against him. He gained popularity as a prop comic in the 90s, but while his shows were extremely smart and absolutely hilarious,
O.J. Simpson's football. Okay, go deep, honey, go deep.
His bizarre look and style made him a punching bag for anybody.
Well, it's because, I hate to say it, but it's because he's a ginger. And when I say ginger, I don't mean like it's like, haha, they got red hair, haha, they got freckled skin. No. In terms of gingers, Carrot Top is the alpha ginger. Like, he's that mega ginger that just everyone looks at as just like, yep, gingers are a genetic mistake.
And everybody.
I know, and honestly...
Never understood why people are like that.
It's because people are cruel, dude. I hate to say it, but there's people out there who hate just to hate.
Funny guy, man, and you at least used to take a lot of shit, and I never understood it.
I don't either. I would get shit for everything.
It's like Nickelback.
This became most obvious.
No, Nickelback deserves the shit that they get.
Not really.
Come on, dude. Nickelback's terrible.
Not always. They did write some songs that were just copying themselves, which are pretty bad. But actually, I mean, you even reacted to the video that was like why Nickelback got hate, you know?
Well, but that's the problem, is like musically they never evolved, and they never changed into better people. Instead, Chad Kroger's still the same asshole, and so is like the rest of the band. It's like they still act like they're frat bros. And look,
but they've actually written decent songs.
No, and I'm not gonna like Side of a Bullet is a good song. There's several songs off like
Feed the Machines kick ass, and the whole metal community is actually like, holy shit, Nickelback wrote a good metal song? What the hell?
Okay, Silver Side Up, there's some decent songs on there. I would also say that, what was the one after Silver Side Up? I can't remember. Damn. But my dad really liked Nickelback, but the problem is, right after they did those songs on those albums, they became middle of the road, and then they did bullshit country stuff. And I'm not gonna sit here and pretend like Nickelback's the worst band ever. No, I think that Nickelback deserves a lot of the shit that's coming their way. Do I think they deserve to be ran out of the business? Hell no. If you have fans out there, you have fans. But personally, I can't listen to Nickelback anymore because I've just lost interest. I don't have any interest in it anymore.
I think they're incredibly overrated, but here recently when they've done some heavier songs, they've actually done a pretty good job on a couple songs.
I'll have to listen to them and check them out. Just see if
I
it
have
watches
Feed the Machine on my playlist. It's the first one of the songs I've ever put on my playlist.
I'll have to check it out.
It's a good song.
When Carrot Top simply flew over his city in a fighter jet.
And the next day on the front page of the paper, Carrot Top disrupts city with flyover. And everyone's up in arms because the building shook and everybody was like, oh, what, there's a war happening? And I think they were really, honestly, just pissed because it was me.
And in a Reddit thread talking about him, the only reasons people had to hate Carrot Top was he's annoying, not funny, and comes across as a gigantic douchebag, which pretty much confirms the theory. Carrot Top's name has become synonymous with bad comedian we should make fun of. In another article, Carrot Top was described as the most successful comedian no one will admit to liking, with one of these haters being another comedy legend.
So it's Billboard just going coals on me. I mean, just right? I mean, just bad.
Who then apologized to Carrot Top after meeting him in person.
And then when I finally meet him, he was like, dude, I am so sorry. Like, he came and hugged me. And
Carrot Top was hated for so long that he's now considered a legend.
Kind of like everyone in these interviews so far, he doesn't seem like a douchebag to me. He doesn't come off as a douche. He just comes off as kind of a normal dude.
Yeah. I mean, I've never met the guy, but from everything I've seen, Carrot Top at least seems a decent guy. It's just the world entire just doesn't like him.
You know what? Jeez, we won't.
Once again, anti-ginger bullshit.
Go away. We've been ripping on him, but he's for some reason he's still around, and you know what? He can stay now.
You had somebody
earn my wings.
With Bobby Lee having earned his wings in a similar kind of way. One of the things that makes Bobby Lee so likable is his ability to laugh at himself for the sake of audience entertainment.
Bro, you're the worst looking of all of us.
What do you think he is out of 10, for real?
You're a 2, buddy.
2, buddy.
You're like a 2.5 at most, probably closer to a 1.5.
Give me a bigger number.
Okay. You want an honest number?
No, honest.
Okay. You want the honest number?
Please.
I was being generous as a 1.5.
I'm a 1.5?
Something close to 1.7.
Just say 1.
Showing that he's comfortable in his own skin.
I think he'll admit that.
helps him deliver some of the most savage roasts on the internet.
My dad abandoned me, but then I love my mom.
In your face! He doesn't have a dad!
Although just like Theo Von, his fans also have a lot of respect for how open he is with his addiction issues and sobriety.
Right before I was gonna get on the plane, I looked at my girlfriend and said, I'm gonna relapse.
When it comes to Bobby Lee's stand-up, a Reddit user wrote, I've seen him do the same set at the Comedy Store like 3 or 4 times, and I nearly cried laughing each time, while another person called it the hardest I've laughed at a comedy show of a decent slate of shows. It seems Bobby Lee finds love from the audience regardless of what he's doing, while the audience has recently been finding many reasons to hate Tom Segura. At the start of his career, Tom Segura was one of the more humble comedians. However, after losing over 50 pounds and building a net worth of 12 million, his ego became incredibly obvious. He'd begin to joke about the general population by calling them poors.
So I've received a remarkable number of messages, countless poor people, about the use of a washcloth in the shower. And, it's kind of well known, it's what poors do.
However, it quickly became obvious that he wasn't really joking.
Every time we talk about like a watch or a car, I'll get a bunch of messages from losers that try to tell me that I'm making them feel bad about their situation. I'm struggling with rent this month. Figure it the f*** out.
In October 2023, Tom tweeted about being inconvenienced by American Airlines, and after being called entitled by his fans, Tom responded by stating all the poors and losers have the same response. Oh, you were inconvenienced, well you should accept it. That's what me and my dumb poor family have done for generations. This is why you're poor. In his next tweet, he'd respond to a fan by simply writing poor, while a third tweet read, the lowest level poors get upset, as they've been trained to do when you point out they're happy to do what I'm told servant mentality. They don't value time because their time is worthless. You are specks of shit on a washcloth and washcloths belong in the trash. The rant instantly turned Tom into laughing stock for the internet.
Probably not that much money left over for the guys in the booth either. It's all Tom and Christina just running around, getting on private jets. Making fun of poor people.
While others dug deep to find his wealth was likely inherited.
It turns out Tom was a trust fund kid. His father was the vice president and chief financial advisor of Merrill Lynch for 25 years, until he took over as the vice president and CFA for the Bank of America. His obituary mentions that he was a member of the Quail Valley Golf Club in Vero Beach, where a membership will run you a very modest $85,000 a year, not counting all of the other fees.
This led Tom to remove the entire chain of airport tweets and avoid every question that might imply he's rich.
What kind of car you have?
What kind?
You have cars?
Yeah,
How many cars you got? You alright?
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking.
Tom Segura has no excuse for being a douchebag, given Gabriel Iglesias is substantially richer.
Fluffy!
Everybody loves Fluffy.
One of the nicest, most pure and kind-hearted people in the comedy industry.
Yeah, I saw his most recent special that came out recently, and he's still amazing.
Yes, still funny as hell.
He's funny and he's awesome. He's just wholesome and nice.
Yes.
He's a great guy.
Yes.
One of the most humble comedians.
He's the one comedian that I would love to meet besides Chris Porter. Chris Porter's my favorite comedian, but I would love to meet Gabriel Iglesias just because I think it'd just be so fun to talk to him for a minute. You know?
Yeah. Same, dude. I'd love to
They say
see.
don't meet your heroes, but I really feel like
everyone
he
who
would be cool
talks
in person.
about Gabriel says the same thing, that in person he is just as genuine and just as sweet on stage as he is in person. I'd love to see a convo between him and Theo Von.
Yeah.
I wonder where it would go.
Probably all over the place.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Gabriel Iglesias controversy into Google, it seems the worst thing he's ever done is pay a fine to a venue for spending too much time recording a Netflix special. Back in 2014, one of these specials was leaked and uploaded to YouTube for free, although instead of issuing a copyright takedown, he'd share the links to his Facebook, adding, "I can't believe someone posted a direct link to watch my Fluffy specials online for free. The nerve. I hope no one shares or watches these before they get taken down," prompting a top comment reading, "This is why you're awesome, Fluffy. You don't whine about getting pirated, you promote it." Gabriel's nickname Fluffy is a joke about his own weight, which like Bobby Lee shows he's comfortable in his own skin. Although at the same time, Gabriel explained to Joe Rogan that he'd recently lost 70 pounds as a result of following better habits. And it was bad habits that led Carlos Mencia.
Carlos Mencia's a giant prick.
Hi, Ned. Yeah, that's his real name. Ned. You are okay. Carlos Mencia is his stage name. And when you actually learn about his background, it's just like, this is the guy that they picked to replace Dave Chappelle. This guy?
Sia to become incredibly hated. The collapse of his reputation began after Joe Rogan wrote a blog post titled "Carlos Mencia is a weak-minded joke thief," which read, "The latest and most disgusting joke thief of all is a guy named Carlos Mencia. The really crazy thing is that's not even his real name. He sells himself as being Mexican, but the reality is his real name is Ned Holness, and he's actually half German and half Honduran. The Mexican hook is something he did to integrate himself with the local Mexican population of LA where he started. From here, Joe began calling him Carlos Menstelia before confronting him on stage in an actual comedy club, which was recorded and uploaded to YouTube."
I want to point out something. When Joe did this, all of the people that were that originally had his back on doing shows, like shows and venues and TV shows and stuff like that, instantly forgot he existed. Because Carlos Mencia's star was on the rise, and because Joe had the balls to call him out for his bullshit, it's just like, no, we don't like that. We want to make money off Carlos before people find out that he's a joke thief. It's like, fuck off.
It's easy to say you steal shit, but I don't, because I'm not a little bitch. I think that every time you open your mouth, you talk about me, I think that you're secretly in love with me.
Despite denying the allegations, Carlos was then exposed for stealing from Bill Cosby and Ari Shaffir, after which Carlos made the crazy decision to own the fact that he stole all his jokes.
His attitude was this, like, yeah, I steal. If I'm in the back of the room, you better watch your material, because I'll take it, remix it, and make it a hit.
From here, almost every comedian destroyed Carlos Mencia.
A lot of your material, I'm not saying all of it, but a lot of your material was too similar to Paul Mooney or Bill Hicks.
And he went from performing in stadiums to small clubs. There's a heavy price to pay for cutting corners in comedy, whereas Chris Rock discovered there's much to gain in the power of a single slap. Chris Rock has been admired and respected since the mid-1980s, although it seems being slapped by Will Smith made him even more loved. Ironically, the Will Smith...
I mean, he handled it like the most, chill way imaginable.
He handled it in a very chivalrous way.
He was like, Will Smith just slapped the shit out of me. Okay, that's the thing that
that just happened.
Slap made Chris a beloved winner. Will Smith accomplished the impossible with one targeted slap. Now everybody loves Chris. This was reinforced when Dave Chappelle was attacked on stage.
Cool before that.
Oh no, I always liked Chris Rock.
Yeah, respect.
I never had a problem with Chris Rock.
It's I wouldn't have blamed him for slapping him back, but he didn't. Just okay.
No,
he just shrugged it off.
He took it and was just like, wow,
completely respectable.
Yeah, and Will Smith's the one suffering. He's the one banned from ever attending any major award show for the next, the next 5 to 7 years.
After which Chris Rock jumped on the mic to ask,
"Was that Will Smith?"
Chris Rock just proved that if someone does you wrong in life, just wait, and the perfect moment will present itself. Proud of Chris Rock. He didn't let the Will Smith incident take him to a place of bitterness and anger, but stays humble and even makes a joke out of such a difficult spot to be in. There could not have a more perfect moment to drop that line, and the fact that Chris Rock wasn't really talking about the altercation before leading up to this just adds to the perfection of his delivery, and when Chris Rock did address the controversy in his special, he reinforced a winner's mindset.
He ripped them a new asshole, but he didn't make it the main crux of his special. Instead, he was just like, it happened, I'm moving on from it, while they're the ones still making apology videos. Yeah.
But I'm not a victim, baby. You will never see me on Oprah or Gail. I couldn't believe it, and I love Men in Black. No, I took that hit like Pacquiao.
Yes, you did. Damn. So yeah, most hated versus most loved comedians. Good list. Good list. I would say for me, I agree with them for the most part. I would say the most misunderstood one on the list is most definitely Carrot Top.
Seems like it.
But I would also say that the one who you give way too much credit to is Brendan Schaub. Man's not a comedian. The man passes himself as a comedian, but he's not. He is not a comedian. All right.
I'm pretty sure he thinks that the Earth is flat too.
Why am I not surprised? Jesus. Anyway, that's gonna do it, everybody. This was once again Sonny B2. If you want to check out more from Sonny B2, click his name in the title of the video. Till next time, I'm Nate.
I am Nick.
Y'all be good people. Take care. Peace.